Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now, let's get this show on the road. What is going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. This week, I have Chris Barling from Inhuman Nature and Mercenary Press, and we are going to be talking about some more Inhuman Nature and what's going on with them and what is happening with Mercenary Press, his publishing label. So, but before we get into that, let's talk for a minute here. I got a few things that I want to talk about before we check in with the Heavy Metal Wasteland, and I want to address that here as well, too. First is this. It seems that there are a lot of these legacy bands out there today that are selling their archives to publishing companies after the fact. And of course, it's for exorbitant money. For example, Bob Dylan sold his entire catalog to Sony, so on and so forth. But the one that got me was just yesterday, it was announced that Frank Zappa's Trust have sold his recording catalog and film archive to Universal Music Group. And of course, the Trust is Moon, Ahmet, Dweezil, and Diva Zappa. So, you know, that whole thing a few years ago where Dweezil was told that he couldn't play any of the Frank songs live, like the Zappa Does Zappa thing, because he didn't have the rights to the music or some shit like that. But and that was his mother that had done that, Gail, that sued him over it. But it's interesting that, you know, there's so many releases that Frank has done, just as like whatever he had done studio and live in the time that he was alive. But since his death, there have been over 60 reissues of things, of the Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. It's just really interesting to me. What do you guys think about that? Where bands, like I said, these legacy bands, and I'm sure we're going to get the Rolling Stones doing it before too long. We're going to get so many of these other bands doing it before so long as well, that you've got all of these publishing companies that are just buying up these catalogs. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Second is this. I want to talk about this because this kind of gets me. there is a thing out in music today where, okay, we know the halftime show at the Super Bowl is lip sync, right? It's like, we know that it is. And it has been for years. When The Who did it, the Red Hot Chili Peppers done it, it was all pantomime. Aerosmith's done it, it's pantomime. And of course the pop stars, of course we know, are. So it's been brought to my attention by a friend of mine who is pretty much a Kiss historian that Paul Stanley is just out there singing the tracks. He's just pantomiming the tracks. He's still playing guitar, but his voice is absolutely shot. Okay, so there's that part of it. And it's like, okay, do we get that? I mean, does that really take it out for everybody? But then, on the other side of this, there's Vince Neil, who, if you have not seen any video of him, it's insane. You know what? I'm actually going to play a clip of Vince Neil singing in 2022, okay? Absolutely, what the hell was that? Here's my question for you guys this week is, would you go see Kiss knowing full well that he is singing the tracks and basically shit talk, Paul Stanley for doing that? Or would you rather go see Vince Neil, who is not able to hit it? And would you if you had to choose, what would you choose? Would you go to see a band play the tracks here and there, or would you go see somebody who can't hit it? For example, like Rob Zombie. I mean, when he does Thunder Kiss 65, he can't do it. He gets out of breath. He's like an every other line guy. And Vince Neil has just gotten worse and worse and worse over the last 15 years. I don't know if it's because of health and just getting old or what. It's almost like what Axl did in the, in the early 2000s before he came back, with Chinese Democracy and all that. So, but anyways, I've had some really, it's been a really rough week for me mentally and everything with all the state of the world shit, and especially the state of the United States at this point. So I'm not going to get too political on this or anything. I'm not even going to bring that up. But it's just been weighing on me heavily. And it sucks. It really does suck. But, I'm going to keep it a little bit lighthearted this week. Jason went to the Heavy Metal Wasteland. And he came back with Galactic Empire.
Diwanawanga, or hello there. I am in the wastelands of Tattooine at Toshi Station, and I'm here to tell you today about the parody band / tribute band Galactic Empire, who do instrumental Star Wars covers, mainly the John Williams stuff from the original trilogy and prequel trilogy. A lot of these bands, the tribute bands or parody bands, are a bunch of bantha fodder to me, but this one stands out because the musicianship on this is really true to the John Williams score. They have 3 guitar players, obviously, to fill in all those layers that the John Williams orchestra pieces usually have. I'm not sure who any of the musicians are, but they dress up as Vader on lead guitar, a TIE Fighter pilot on lead guitar, and one of the Emperor's Crimson Guard on lead guitar. Bass is a Stormtrooper who actually hits all the notes, and on drums is Boba Fett. And before I go any further, talking about the musicianship, I have a feeling that this band is probably comprised of a lot of metalcore and or deathcore musicians, because the double bass on the drums sometimes is overkill to the point it's like, why? You know, it's just like really fast double bass where it really could have just had a very simple beat. But small gripe, I'm a drummer, I notice these things. It's not really my style, but it doesn't really take away from the fact that these covers or compositions are amazing on their own. And hearing the stuff that I've had ingrained in my brain since I was, 4 or 5 years old, watching Return of the Jedi for the first time, it brings back some nostalgia to me. And since I'm a fan of metal, as all of you probably are listening to this, it does justice, and it's really cool to hear a take, with some more aggressive play styles. They have a few videos on YouTube that are really fun. I highly recommend the main Force theme video, especially around the minute 40 mark. It just tapped into my nerddom of music and Star Wars. So perfect being in a band that you can't help but just laugh at it when it happens. It's so spot on. It's so funny. But I can't spoil it for you here. Just go watch it for yourself. You'll see what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it also. They have 2 full albums out. Debut album from 2017, and the next one is called Episode 2, which is no surprise. Why wouldn't it be? Also, they have recently done a cover of the Book of Boba Fett theme, which I think is really cool, really good. And if you're really into John Williams, they also have a cover of the Jurassic Park score for some odd reason or another. Me personally, I really like the Book of Boba Fett cover. I think it's pretty awesome. I also really like the Across the Stars theme from Episode 2. It's like the music that is over the terrible Anakin and Padme facing death together on Geonosis part. They're really stilted acting with the really awesome music over it. It's pretty heavy, and I appreciate how it kept the feel and totally changed it at the same time. Also, a pretty metal cover of the Cantina Band theme by Max Rebo and his boys are one of the better cuts of their covers. So that brings me to a second Star Wars topic, is that me and Mark have started a YouTube podcast called The Mudhorn, youtube.com/The Mudhorn. It's a free-flowing conversation with different guests talking about the latest Star Wars projects, whether it be movies or TV shows. Here lately, just TV shows, but when there's a movie out, we will cover it too. And it's an open invite for anybody who would like to be on future episodes. Just let us know, or if you want to host the episode yourself, that's fine too. We can give you the information you need to get it done. And we invite everyone, no one's excluded. We only ask that you stick to the topic and not get too political if it's not directly a topic of the conversation. If you're listening to this, you're probably a good person and know the usual, no racism, no sexism, no homophobia, all that good stuff. Be nice, be kind, be respectful. Disagreement's good. Public discourse is fine. We just can't get all personal and hateful. So my final thought is, if you're into Star Wars and like the music, there is a stoner doom band from the Netherlands called Bantha Rider. All their songs are based on creatures and events and places on Tattooine only. So if you want to get super nerdy and into the nitty-gritty of specialized Star Wars music, this is a good place to start. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's about as heavy as you would expect a Bantha to be. So, so that's it for now here from Toshi Station. Got some power converters. I'm going to sign off by telling you to stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay heavy, friends. We will talk to you next time.
Fucking right, Jason. Thank you so much for doing that. Dude, I love lighthearted stuff like that. It's totally cool. It's, it puts a smile on my face when people do that. I do kind of like parody bands and comedy bands and mashup bands and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Thanks for, and if you guys don't know, I do a podcast with Jason from the Heavy Metal Wasteland. It's called the Mudhorn Podcast, and it is talking about Star Wars stuff, although in episode 5 we did get a little off kilter and talked about some other things. So anyway, Athena did put something out this week. It was a little bit longer than what I had hoped it to be, which is fine, because I love listening to both Athena and Jason's recommendations and reviews. But she will be back next week with her Heavy Metal Mischief, her Metal Mischief from the Heavy Metal Bunker. Jesus, it's like I can't get it right. So let's go ahead and check in with Inhuman Nature. This is Forgotten Tombs. All right, metalheads, I'm being joined from the United Kingdom this week with Chris from Inhuman Nature and Mercenary Press. Dude, you've been you've been a sponsor for the show for like a year and a half, and it's like we finally get to talk.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's good to actually have a chat with you. Well, I was going to say in real liff, I guess, over the virtual world.
It's as real life as it can be right now.
Exactly, yeah.
Because, we just are now getting out of COVID and people are going on tour again. So it might be in real life for me soon because I'm saving my money to come over hopefully by the end of 2023.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I'll give you a tour around London. It's all good. You put me down for that.
Hell yeah. You have to take me to all like the cool places. Like, I'm a foodie also, so like
all right.
I like trying other cuisine and stuff like that too. So
all right, man. I mean, on when we had Sadistic Force over a couple of weeks ago, we took James to get jellied eels, and it seemed. I mean, I don't eat it; it looks fucking disgusting. But he seemed to really like it, so I can do the same for you if that's what you're interested in.
That doesn't sound good to me, but
No.
he's from Texas, and Texans are crazy, and they will do anything.
Yeah,
I know that
absolutely.
for a fact. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge shout out to James and Sadistic Force. They're super rad people.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah,
you all were
really
on,
cool.
So you all were on tour with them here a few weeks ago. You all did what? Wasn't it 6 or 7 days or something, or was it longer than that? How many was it?
So they did like 11 shows. I think they did like 5 or 6 of their own shows, and a band from Scotland called Venom Wolf. Venom Wolf, yeah. I keep going to say Venom Prison, but it's Venom Wolf who supported them, and then they joined up with Inhuman Nature for 5 shows, where we did Birmingham, Norwich. We went up to Scotland for 2 shows, and then we played Leeds. And then on their last day of the tour, they supported Midnight in Bristol, which was very awesome.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't get much better than that. You said you played Birmingham, which obviously 2 of the biggest metal bands in the world are from Birmingham.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I mean, how is that scene there with, living up to the lineage of Judas Priest and Black Sabbath?
I mean, the show was really good. It was a cool show. We were competing with like a huge metal festival here called Download.
Right.
Where like Kiss and Maiden were headlining. It's like, like the biggest sort of metal fest we have. So we were kind of competing with that, but it was still a good show. This famous German comedian came to the show. I think his name's Henning Wey. He's super famous, but I was the only person that didn't know who he was. But he was in the pit, like at the front, and I just thought he was like a regular dude. But apparently he's on the TV and stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, it's super cool, and shows. There's always gigs going on in Birmingham. Like there's always good metal shows there as well. Yeah, it's just always really rad.
Absolutely, and aside from the fact of Black Sabbath and Priest being from there as well, it's working class people. And working class people tend to be more metalheads, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think you do get that, like in the kind of smaller like towns. I mean, obviously London has like a huge metal scene, and you have like there's obviously a big working class thing here as well as like not, I guess. But I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
for sure, definitely. So you mentioned Download Fest. Y'all were competing with that, and obviously they've for years have brought like 70, 80, 100,000 people. It seems like like consecutively. Now that was what once was Donington, right? Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
awesome. So I mean, anybody out there who doesn't know, look up the Metallica picture from like 1984 or 5 when they played it, and you see like a sea of fucking people.
yeah, man,
and so much trash on the stage.
yeah, man. It's there's a really good you might have heard of it. There's a film called Bad News. It's kind of like British Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should check that out. There's like 2 of them. The second one is they're like a fake metal band, and they play at Monsters of Rock at Donington and get like fucking shit thrown at them and stuff like that. It's really good. Just check it out. Anyone who I think if you like Spinal Tap, you'll like it if you get the kind of British humor side of it.
Right. Okay, the comic strip presents Bad News.
That's it. Yeah, it's really good.
Is it like a newer film?
No, it's super old. Like I guess it probably came out
super old. Yeah,
in the 80s maybe. It's probably like a direct. I don't know. I guess it was like after Spinal Tap, so it must have been like a direct result of that. But it's funny talking about Spinal Tap when so we had Sadistic Force play. They did 2 shows in London recently, so I booked both of them. And we did a show in Camden, which is kind of like the place you would go to do a metal show. Like if you've never been to the UK before, if you wanted to play. And I went for dinner around the corner, and Michael McKean, who's David St. Hubbins in Spinal Tap, came into the pizza place I was eating, and I just saw him coming through the window, and I was just like, fuck, is that dude? And then apparently they're doing a sequel, so I guess he's in town to do that.
Yes, yeah, they've talked about doing a sequel to This is Spinal Tap, and that's so cool to me because like obviously I'm a huge fan of it,
Yeah, yeah.
And a few years ago, pre-pandemic, I got to catch a screening of it at a theater here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was just like, "Holy shit, this is so cool to see it on the big screen," you know. And the jokes still hit really well.
Yeah. I think it's still funny, and like, you know, even if you're like, smaller bands and bigger, you identify with like the weirdness of it.
Oh,
in
for
a way.
Sure.
Like getting lost backstage and stuff.
Right, getting lost backstage when it's applicable. Or you know, the crazy stuff that happens where the possessive girlfriend comes in and is like, we want to do Signs of the Zodiac. It's so good though, and
yeah, man.
And I really hope everybody gets on board with it, like Rob Reiner included. So that would be awesome.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. So let's go ahead and talk about Inhuman Nature.
Okay.
What is going on with you guys all of a sudden, you know, because you all, from around 2017 is the formation, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've had some pretty steady releases. You had the first full length in 2019. You've done a split and an EP. So what's coming up for you guys?
I mean, well, we're kind of like winding down. Like the first half of this year has been so busy. I think we've already done like 3 tours so far. So we're gonna kind of like wind down to do album 2. That's like the next thing. So that hopefully next year, that's when people will get that. But that's like kind of the main priority for us, is doing that. Because like, you know, we wrote that album in 2018 and it came out in 19. It just seems like a, you know, fucking age ago, you know. So we want to do the new stuff. So that's kind of the main thing. But yeah, like we had that new EP come out earlier this year in February, like Under the Boot, which we did on Church Road. That's really cool. That's kind of the direction we're sort of heading in. And we've got a few shows coming up. Like we're playing with Cro-Mags next week, which would be awesome. We're playing with them in Camden, which would be cool. And then we've got Bloodstock coming up, which is really, really cool. Playing the same day as like Testament and Exodus and I Hate God and Discharge and a fucking bunch of other really cool bands.
Hell yeah.
But then we got some dates, like another tour coming up that hasn't been announced yet. For later on in the year, but that's really going to be it. Like, and then it's just really knuckling down and doing album 2. We've got some demos like in the works and that sort of thing. So we're just gonna get together and do that, man, and that's it. And then plot out next year and hopefully album tours, maybe a US tour, and see how we go. Hell
yeah, US tour would be amazing. Now, you all have re-released the first album, correct? You released it. Did you release it with the Live at the Dev show also?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's not even like a weird story. So as the album came out on vinyl, we've pressed it ourselves on CD like ages ago. I did a tape release for it on Mercenary Press, and then a label in Brazil called Marquee Records wanted to re-release it on CD, but COVID kind of slowed it down and stuff like that, so it only came out like this year. And they just kind of stuck the live stuff on there without really telling us.
Oh wow.
I think it was kind of like an accident, like, and but it's kind of like a cool thing to have, because so we've been bringing that out to shows and like selling that, because we do have we had a Canadian release as well, World War Now Records. They did a really nice like version of the album without that, so we've kind of like been holding that back and bringing the one with both albums on it to kind of sell at shows. It's had like 4 different re-releases. We haven't done a vinyl re-release. Like, people do ask us about it, but not really sure if we're going to do it yet or not.
For sure. And with the press time on vinyl these days, that's the insane part of it. I mean, because you could do it, you could say, yes, we're going to do this, and be waiting another year for it.
Well, that's true, but recently, deviating from Inhuman Nature, but obviously Mercenary Press did, alongside with Postmortem Apocalypse, who are based in Wichita, we did the Sadistic Force LP, and that took 6 to 8 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, and it was printed at the exact same factory in the Czech Republic where everyone else has their records.
Well, that's printed. Even better then.
It was weird, but the only catch for me is like the deal was like you had to have a random color, which I was like, all right, that could be risky, but it came out in this like really nice gray marble, which is super sick, and it had to be shipped to America first. Like, there was no way that I could get it, even though like I'm way closer. So then I had to ship 90 records back to UK, but it cost me like an extra $100.
Oh wow.
Or something like that on top. So it drove like the cost price up by like for each record by a couple of pounds. But we got it done in 6 to 8 weeks, and same factory, like all that shit. So I'm kind of like, I'm dubious as to why other places can't get it done. You know what I mean? I think it was a Canadian broker that we used. So it was Phil, who does Postmortem Apocalypse, that he arranged it all, and I just like paid him. And it was done super quick. So I don't really know like what the deal is with places that are taking a year. Like, I was looking into doing a vinyl release for another band on Mercenary Press, and it was like 9 months. So and it's pretty crazy.
It is. It's absolutely crazy. And here in Kentucky, we have a small run vinyl press.
Okay, cool.
Called Palomino Records. Now that I've said their name on here, they're going to get slammed busy, and they're already a year out even. So,
oh fuck.
And it's like a crew of like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, okay.
And they put out amazing quality stuff, and again, it takes so much, because not only is it the time consuming process of pressing vinyl, but it's also a supply chain issue, and everywhere is running into that. So
I mean, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because like it's annoying if you run a label or you're in a band, because you have to plan like a year ahead. But then is it on the other side of that, like a double-edged sword, is it really cool that vinyl is so popular? You know what I mean? And maybe there just needs to be more like vinyl plants or something like that. But then, if that happens, will the trend of it die down? So it's hard to sort of see where it's going. I mean, I think it's cool that there's so many people pressing vinyl, although I know a lot of the holdups are because like, fucking Fleetwood Mac is getting repressed a million times, or whatever, like these big bands, which I'm fine with Fleetwood Mac. Maybe it's more like the kind of shitty like pop stuff that is getting pressed, and that's kind of getting in the way of the smaller labels. But maybe it's kind of a good thing that vinyl's really coming back, because it's cool. Maybe on the other side of it, there's all these issues that are making it shit. So I don't know where I sit with it. I'm conflicted with it,
Well, and I think you're right with the fact of the cool thing is that vinyl has come back and is in such demand right now. But the thing too with, like you said, but they're also pressing another 1 million copies of Rumors, and
yeah, exactly.
And it's one of those things. It's like you could either buy it for $15 used, like in mint condition, or you can buy it for $20 in a repress of new.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I mean, I have that album on vinyl, you know, and it's great. But I probably bought it secondhand in like one of the shops in town. I feel like those old records, do you really need to, like, the remastered version of it or whatever is probably not going to be as good as like the old secondhand version that you can get.
100%.
So it's like, you know, what's the point? But anyway, you know, but then it's cool if people that didn't have vinyl before, so I've collected vinyl for, I don't know, man, since I was like 18 or something like that. I just turned 35. But if you're like a new person who's getting into it, you know, maybe that's kind of cool to go buy like the new version of it, and then you might explore like other things. I don't know, like, who knows? Well, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know.
A few weeks back, I was talking with Hellwolf from Black Knife, and we had mentioned the thing of he loves Tom Jones records.
I listened to this interview just before I came on the phone.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
About finding a $1 copy of something that the jacket is in great condition, but the disc sucks. And then finding another $1 or $2 copy of something where the jacket sucks and the disc is in great shape.
Yeah. Like
that's the fun part for me.
Yeah. I bought I went out, so it's my birthday last weekend, so I normally go and do a little record shop in London, and I'm on the lookout for those, like the solo Kiss records, like that come with the insert like poster where they all go together. And I've been looking for the Paul Stanley one for a long time. That's like my favorite one, and they had 2 copies of it in the shop, and I've never seen it in real life before. And they had one without the poster, and they had one with the poster, which annoyingly was added £10 value to the record. But that was in perfect condition, and the record was in perfect condition, but the jacket was a little bit like fucked up. And I was like, I'll go for it, man. You know what I mean? And then rather than going for the other one, but you know, it's cool. Like and I also like, even when I'm at home, I collect vinyl a lot, and I never put my records into jackets or anything like that. So I kind of like that they get a bit dinged up. You know, I kind of like books maybe. Like I don't care if the jacket is dinged or whatever. Like as long as the record is fine, I don't really care. You know.
Absolutely. And on my band's most recent release, which is 2019, on our CD artwork, we added, you know, distress to it already. So it looks like a vinyl jacket that has been dinged up. So
awesome.
You might as well, you know, start the process as soon as you get it, right?
Exactly, man. Yeah, let's just get it straight in there. Yeah,
for sure. So what's coming up next with Mercenary Press?
Well, we just did. I say we. I always say we as if like there's more people that do it, but it is just me. I mean, although my girlfriend Izzy does help with all the layouts and like the zine and stuff like that, because she actually knows how to use Photoshop, and dude, I have no idea about that sort of thing. So I guess it's kind of a we, but running the label, it is just me. So I just did the Iron Tomb first EP, Vile Retribution. And that's doing like super well. They're from Birmingham, the home of heavy metal. You know, channeling that fucking bolt thrower energy. That's really good. And I met them. They came to the Birmingham show with Sadistic Force, so it was nice to meet those guys. So I just did that. I've got 2 other got an EP like / demo that's going to come out hopefully in August. That I'm working on. It's a little bit different. It's more in the black metal spectrum. And then another album to release, which may or may not come out on vinyl. We're sort of plotting that out at the moment and deciding how to do that. And I'm also moving back into sort of doing another, like a book release for someone, which is going to be really cool, like a short story, sort of like a rock and roll story that I think a lot of people would sort of identify with. Maybe not Americans, because it's kind of very centered around Camden. So I feel like you have to be from Camden to really get the story. Okay. Because Mercenary Press was kind of like, it was, you know, obviously we do zines. I know you've picked up the zines. Thank you very much.
Very much.
You know, I do want to, like, obviously as much as I love putting out like music, I do want to, like, I did want to do like books and eventually do like horror stories and little and more, and obviously more zines and stuff like that as well. So I'm still keeping that in my world as well, you know. But that's kind of it. Like it's gotten really busy recently, obviously, like I booked the Sadistic Force tour and drove those guys. That kept me busy for a while. I'm still doing the distro. I distro all of Pagan Altars merch in the UK at the moment, which obviously they're like such an amazing, like, fucking cult status band, that selling their merch does keep me quite busy, as well as doing my regular jobs as well. So yeah, it's picking up as well. It's nice to have a few releases in the pipeline, but it's kind of it feels like it's because Sadistic Force haven't had a release out since earlier this year, and they're like giving me a break from releasing their stuff
right
for a while, because that's all I put out for the last year was Sadistic Force. I did their first 2 EPs in one go, then did their album on CD and tape, then did it on vinyl, then I did their split like immediately after, and now I think they're having a little writing break, so it's giving me some space to actually work with some more bands, which is cool. I'm sure we'll do more stuff for them in the future.
Definitely. And yeah, they've been super busy the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Even through COVID, they built a crazy amount of buzz over Instagram and Facebook and such. So
yeah,
always looking forward to more stuff from them.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. And
yeah.
And I want to hit on that what you said a second ago about it's Mercenary Press. It's not Mercenary Records. It's press. It's everything. Like I said, the zines, publishing in general, not just music. Yeah. And I do want to hit on the zine. And issue 1 was great. Okay.
Yeah.
It was the half size type zine, fold in the middle, total DIY.
Yeah.
But when I received issue number 2, I was blown the fuck away.
No, thanks, man.
Because just the quality of it was insane. And honestly, to get it shipped to America it's like, I don't mind paying the premium to do that because of the quality. The quality is, with it being a bound edition.
Yeah.
That, and I mean, and there's a ton of zines out there. There's some of them that, you work with what you have, which is total what you're supposed to do with a zine, and it's just like this, hell yes, 1,000,000% knocked it out of the park kind of thing.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, yeah, I was really, really happy with how it came out. And I think, I've been a big fan of like zines, since I was like a teenager. I feel like as soon as you introduce like hardcore and punk in a more DIY sense, you're automatically introduced to zines. And I really, really love that. Like I've definitely done some like just like printing off paper at home and doing it that way, like we did an Inhuman Nature zine that way. But like, it is nice when you receive something that, like you were saying, like when it's bound and it's more of like a tangible thing that you can like put in your bookshelf maybe. So I think that's why I wanted to go with it. But I was kind of like, I did all the interviews, I got all the content for it. But yeah, it really was like my girlfriend Izzy, who's like actually helped me put it together, with me kind of like directing in a way, I guess, what I wanted and stuff like that, because she actually knows how to work a computer properly. Which is really, really cool that she helps me out of it. And she did, and in the second zine, she did write a feature for it as well, which is all about the mall that they use in Shopping Mall and Eric's Revenge, which was really good. So I like having like fucking nerdy shit like that in there as well. But yeah, I was super happy with it. I'm working on the third zine at the moment, and it is shaping up to probably be like double the size of the one you got, like number 2, which is a bit overwhelming at the moment. But I've been so busy recently.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. So there's loads of interviews lined up for it that I need to like finalize all the questions for and get sent off and then just start working on it. So yeah, man, we'll see. I mean, hopefully I'll get it out for like October this year, because I guess like the second one came out earlier this year, I think. So I can get maybe the second one for October this year, and as long as I get all the stuff done for it, yeah. But yes, it's just a lot, man. But yeah, I'm super into it.
Hell yeah, absolutely, dude. That's an awesome deal with the twice the size of issue number 2. It's more power for your fucking money at that point. And
yeah,
because issue 2 is already pretty stout as it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like I need to like. It's an interesting experience doing it, because like it's kind of every time you do the zines, you're kind of learning, because you can't exactly like if you're not happy with it, you can't. It's really expensive to go get it reprinted. Although actually printing the zines isn't like as pricey as you'd think. And I do use like a proper printing place. But I felt like the paper was maybe like a little bit too thick inside. Right. So I don't know if you thought that, like you do have to really like bend it open. So maybe on the next zine, especially if it's going to be like almost double the size, I'll use like thinner paper and like see how that goes. So it's kind of cool to always be experimenting with that sort of thing. I feel like having a nice thick cover is really cool, but yeah, maybe like thinner paper or something like that would be cool.
Absolutely. I think that would be great. Yeah. And even still, like with the thick cover, like that this one already has, like the thick cardstock cover, it makes it feel like it's a hardbound zine, which is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. I mean, and I think we're going to, with the book release, I'm hopefully going to get out this year. I'm having a meeting with the guy who's wrote it like this weekend, just to sort of finalize it. And, we're going to work out, like, try to get it to, I don't know if I guess you might have, you probably obviously do have these in America, like, there's kind of like how do you describe it? I guess it's like Pulp Fiction, like where you get like the really like super thin paper, like really small books with like short stories in it, stuff like that. Like we want to go for that sort of vibe, like nothing like too fancy looking. So that kind of like grainy recycled sort of like paper, like almost gray, like sort of thing, like maybe going with that. But it's just all about experimenting with it all, and that's all really fun stuff to do.
Oh, for sure. And that's what a lot of zines that, like, I've received zines from like Brazil and places that you would think economically are somewhat disadvantaged, I guess, is the most delicate way you could say something like that. But like totally like getting stuff on recycled newspaper type stuff, which is so rad, you know, because like I said, you work with what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I got a piece of advice one time from an ex of mine who said, I always sit there and said, you know, I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I could never, you know, afford a good camera to do it. And she told me, she was like, you know, you will do with whatever you have. You know, don't let the limit of technology stop you from what you want to do. You know, if you have to get a VHS camera to film your movie, do it, because because you don't be bound by the dollar sign, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you must have seen that movie, American Movie, right?
Of course I have. I love it.
Perfect example, man. You know, he just fucking went for it. And now look, you know, and obviously that movie hasn't really, the movie that he did, was it, I love that he calls it Coven.
Coven? It's
you know,
Coven.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Well, that rhymes with oven. That can't be right.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's Coven.
Coven.
Yeah, like my girlfriend introduced me to that movie. It's amazing, man. But yeah, like he just went for it, and you know, even though no one's, he's not winning an award for Coven or anything, but like, kind of look what happened to him, you know, with the actual documentary about it, which is amazing.
Oh, of course.
You know, and he just totally went for it as well. And what did I get recently for the distro? I got this movie called Bloodsick Psychosis, and it's out on VHS. It's shot on VHS. So I got VHS copies, which I think I've got like one left, maybe, and it's on Blu-ray as well. And I think the idea was obviously to shoot it on VHS, but you know, so it's super grainy, it's really low budget, and it's got like Sadistic Forcer on the soundtrack, Devil Master, and a bunch of other bands. They just went for it, man, and it's cool. I feel like, you know, you just, like you said, you just got to use what you've got, and that's the DIY way, you know.
For sure.
If you want, if you don't have a budget to make a zine, like, you know, if you work in an office, dude, just use the printer, like, you know, right. It's fine, like, you know, whatever. Like, I mean, hopefully no one from my work hears this, but like, whenever I have to like print flyers off or whatever, it's like, you know, there's a printer right next to me. I just
guilty of that myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, you got to do what you got to do, and I think that's fine. You know, and it's cool. And you pick up from there. And you know, it was interesting that the dude from Black Knife was saying, you know, people these days are trying to do. You know, we have access to this technology, but we're all trying to dumb down what we're doing and make it look grainy and messy, and, you know, look like it's from the 90s or the 80s or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, just use what you got, man. It's fine. Like the first, I did a zine, an Inhuman Nature zine, and we just printed it on like this handed down printer that I think I had at my parents' house for almost 10 years or something. And we just printed it on that, and it was fine, man.
Definitely. And that's what it's all about right there.
Exactly.
Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you can pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no
man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford?
Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no. My friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast, available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and break off and get into the new and improved general profile questions for you, Chris.
All right, man.
And like I said before, and I'll go ahead and announce it in the show here, is I've got 100 new questions, and we're limiting the questions so you don't hear the same question 2 weeks in a row.
All right, that's cool.
So, first question. What celebrity do you think is a positive role model for kids today?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Oh, shit. You're going to have to edit loads of this out, because I'm just going to be umming and ahhing. And like a big celebrity, which I have very little knowledge of. I don't know, man.
That's a rough one.
That is a rough one. I try to steer away from celebrity culture as much as possible. Who do I like? I don't know, man. Henry Rollins, maybe. That's I don't know if that's an obvious one or not. I mean, he's influenced me over the years. I think he's cool. I think he's even though he's kind of like a solitary kind of, I don't want to say a weirdo, but maybe kind of a weirdo. He's a good influence. Yeah, you know what? I think he is. He writes a lot of cool books. He's influenced me to read over the years. Read a lot of books that he's recommended through his books. He travels all the time, and he's not afraid to go to different places and meet different people. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with Henry Rollins. I think
that's a great answer. And I recently watched something about him where he was working and he was going to a show, and somebody had asked him, it's like, you should hit these people up. And maybe they'll have you come on board. And, it was like Black Flag.
Yeah, right.
And he hit them up, and they were like, yeah, sure. Come on up and sing with us. And then they didn't look back or some shit. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And from that moment, he's been like a ridiculous advocate for, doing what you want to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And he's totally humble about it too, which is totally cool.
There's a really good there's a video on YouTube where he's talking about taking chances that come your way. So my real job is I'm a careers advisor. I'm actually just sitting in the office alone right now. And I actually use one of his videos in one of my sessions. I actually have it at the end, and he's talking about how you should take chances, when they come to you, and he explains that whole story, and being in Black Flag and thinking about how he's in this band, but he has to think ahead and have other things to do, have plans B, C, and D or whatever, and that's why he starts the printing press and does talking shows and stuff like that. And it's really cool, man. I mean, I know Henry Rollins not everyone's cup of tea, but
his
I love seeing
his life of just his knowledge.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's a great answer. And where we were talking about documentaries and stuff earlier and stuff, so anybody out in Metal Forge Land needs to check out American Hardcore.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
Yeah.
What is the last thing that you done that you were really proud of?
Oh, fuck. That is a hard one. That's something I ask my people that I give careers advice to or some shit. What is the last thing I did? I mean, you know what? I booked Sadistic Forces UK tour, and it was really successful. So, and I've never booked a tour for another band other than my own. So it was quite anxiety inducing. Even to the point where when they arrived, I was almost talking down the first show, which is going to be in this town, Hastings, which is down south in England. It's where both guitarists in Inhuman Nature are from. And they always say that, metal shows aren't really happening there at the minute, but we had to book it last minute. And the show was great. And then all the shows from that day. The whole tour was awesome. Even like, you know, Monday night was great during the show. We played a show in Nottingham with them. So yeah, I think that's the last thing I was proud of.
Hell yeah. And you know what? I book shows here in Louisville, and I will second that as well, that there is nothing better than, not even just when you're playing, because when you play in a band and you get the satisfaction of a good show when you play. But when you promote shows and book shows and you get the satisfaction for the other bands playing the show. Yeah. That like, wow, you know, Sadistic Force came here, we booked this show with them, and it went so great after the fact. Yeah. That it's almost immeasurable, and to me it puts me on another level. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Than being just a musician, you know, just being in a band on the show.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, like, yeah, it was awesome. Like, all the shows really well attended. The first London show they did was like fucking crazy. In a really small dive bar in Camden, but there's like, you know, more than 100 people watching them, and like people like, yeah, I think even the dude that was working behind the bar started moshing like awesome. Midway through their set. Hell and yeah, it's really cool, man. And even like, yeah, we did a show in Edinburgh together with Inhuman Nature, and that was packed out. And like fucking at the end of their set, like Jose, like their drummer, was like crowd surfing and stuff like that. Like, it was pretty bonkers.
That's great.
It's really cool. Good to see.
Fuck yeah, super rad. Which magazine would you like to be on the cover of?
Oh my god. I don't know, man. I mean, if I had to choose, I'd probably go. Yeah, Mercenary Press. I can stick myself on there. Just a picture of me. The next Mercenary Press cover for fucking the third issue is just me on the front, just sitting there. I don't know, man. I mean, you know what? Like, even though like I never, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a dick and put myself in a weird spot in case anyone hears it. But like a lot of like the music magazines, like I don't read them anymore, but I read them as a kid. Mm-hmm. But Kerrang is kind of the one in the UK. Like, I feel like everyone, yeah, if you're a young grunger, as we would call ourselves, that's probably the magazine that you read as a kid. So, you know, being on the cover of that would be pretty crazy if it ever happened. I mean, obviously we've been featured in it, and there's Metal Hammer as well, which is a really good magazine over here as well. So yeah, maybe Kerrang, like if I had to choose.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say something ridiculous like GQ or some shit, but just me on the front in like my fucking denim vest, and that's like the new thing,
right? And
like, you want to look like
build an empire.
Yeah, maybe something ridiculous like that. But yeah, I'll go with Kerrang for the obvious ones.
Hell yeah. But I mean, Kerrang's respectable though for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a guy that works for Kerrang. I think I don't know exactly what he does. I think he's an editor, or he reviews a lot of bands, and he was stage diving for us at a show we did recently. So that was kind of cool. Like, it's pretty bonkers.
Nice.
There's some photo evidence of that. That's kind of nice.
That's awesome. If you could try out a job for one day just to see if you like it, what job would you choose?
Oh my god. Any job ever that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't know. Being the singer of Iron Maiden or something like that, maybe.
Yes.
So ridiculous.
You might get that chance.
You never know, man.
I mean,
is it within the realms of possibility?
It is
maybe.
Now.
You never know.
I mean, Bruce recently said that he's wanting to step back.
Oh, for real? All right.
Yeah, so you might get that chance.
Yeah, I don't know if I can hit those high notes. I mean, I'm not like I do like Iron Maiden. I was just thinking, what would be a ridiculous job to do? But you know, yeah, what a crazy singer! Like when you really think about it, like he's got such a crazy voice.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah.
that would be cool, especially if you took on all of his duties in the band,
like flying them around
the plane, and yeah.
What a mad guy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, go on, we'll go with that.
Definitely. What is the most important thing you carry with you at all times?
Oh, I don't carry it with me at all times, but I do carry it with me on tour and when we play. So my granddad passed away last year, and he inherited like a pocket knife from him, and I always bring it away with me on tour as like a little good luck charm and have it on stage and stuff like that. So that's quite an important thing to me. I mean, anything else I carry with me is really unimportant. Like, I don't know, just like a phone or whatever, you know. So I think maybe that I don't have it with me at all times, but yeah, I have it with me on tour and playing shows and stuff like that.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a little bit close. It's a close to home thing for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so like when I was like a little kid, like I'd always like see it and I'd be like, oh, you know, like I want to get that one day. And he was like, oh, you know, you can have it when I die. It's kind of bleak, but he was like, yeah, when I die, you can have it.
Right.
And then yeah, you know, he did. And now it's mine. So I carry around. And it's actually, it's not like big or anything. It's just like a little Swiss Army knife that he used to have for work. It's very handy if you get a fresh box of merch delivered to a show and you need to cut through the tape. Like it's very handy. So it's, you know, it's all good. It's actually
because that's what
it's a good thing to have around. Yeah,
definitely. So Chris, I have one more question, but before we get into that today, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
Yeah, man. You know, shout out to Sadistic Force for booking some flights and coming to the UK. That's a bold move to make, I would say. You know, it's a risky move, but they were willing to take it, and it worked out for the best. That was really good. Shout out to my girlfriend Izzy, who like helps me with all the label stuff, for very, very low wages, I would say. But you know, she might have to negotiate a better pay structure for her helping me move forward. And yeah, shout out to my dudes in Inhuman Nature, all the rest of the band for putting up with me. Every week I'm like, yo, let's go and do this thing, and just making them making their lives go into upheaval and getting them to go and do shit all the time. But yeah, man, and obviously shout out to you for having me on, man.
Well, definitely, and thank you, and shout out to all those people as well, because hell yeah, because for one, Inhuman Nature, fucking awesome music. As we've heard one song already, we're going to hear another one here in just a minute. Awesome. And awesome Sadistic Force, those guys, great people. I loved having them on, and need to have them on again for a new Reforged episode with those guys.
Yeah, man.
And as always, links will be listed below, so please give a like, a share, and a follow. Go to the Bandcamp pages, buy the merch, get stuff shipped to you, because if you're in the United States, he ships to the United States. A lot of people don't do that because it costs so fucking much. So definitely. Yeah. And thank you so much.
No, you're welcome, man. No, it's my pleasure. This is awesome.
So final question of the day.
Okay.
What is something in life that you really have an appreciation for that most people don't?
Oh, damn. Oh, fuck. Maybe like the Anvil documentary. Maybe. Like, I know a lot of people probably like that, but I really love that movie. I don't know. Is that a good answer? I don't know.
I think that's a great answer. And of course, I had Lips on the show.
I know, yeah.
And
I listened to that episode, yeah.
And a few weeks back, I actually got to open for them.
Oh, awesome, man. How was that?
It was amazing. Super down to earth, nice, great people on that whole tour. Not just with Anvil, but like Midnight Hellion, White Wizard.
Yeah.
Super good people. And just like Lips and Rob and Chris, so nice. I mean, Rob and I and Chris talked outside in a 90-degree Fahrenheit, by the way. So,
damn.
Which is probably about 45 Celsius, I believe.
Nice.
So it's kind of hot. And so we talked outside the show for maybe an hour before they went on stage, and
awesome, man.
Just super down to earth, awesome people. So yeah, having an appreciation for them from that is definitely a great answer.
Yeah, it does remind me of, like, obviously, I'm sure you know the movie really well, but yeah, some of the stuff that happens to them is like, it does resonate with me a lot. Like some of the weird shit that happens to them. You know, I've been playing in bands since I was like 18 years old, and gone on tour, done DIY tours in Europe that haven't always gone to plan and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, you do really feel it. You do feel it for them. I think they're coming over here like pretty soon, actually. So I really need to start sending some like annoying emails to promoters and begging them to put us on the shows and see what happens. But that would be awesome. Yeah, that's kind of like out of like all the bands that like I'd love to play with, I think Anvil is the one where I'm like, I really want to like, I'd love to like support them sometime. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, and like I said, super great people. They totally stuck around. You know, they watch, and it was totally awesome.
Awesome, man.
And you're right. Being, you know, doing those DIY tours and stuff, and it's like anytime you have to do it on your own, there is always a moment of, you know, hey, are you sure Spinal Tap's not a true story? You know?
Yeah.
And because of that. And it's you just got to look at it, take it with a grain of salt, and say, well, this happened today. We're gonna gonna be here tomorrow. Might not happen then. So
exactly, dude. Yeah. It happens all the time. I got lost in a venue in Oslo recently. Like I was trying to leave. I had to go catch a flight, and I couldn't find my way out for ages. It was a huge building with like loads of crazy staircases. It looked like one of those paintings with like the staircases all over the place. It was bonkers.
That's crazy.
And I was just like, and then in the end I came out of a doorway that I didn't understand how I got there. But I was fine in the end. But it's just bonkers, man. So that stuff does happen.
Definitely.
Just getting lost in buildings and stuff. Yeah.
See, luckily enough, knock on wood, I haven't had that happen yet.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I'm like ridiculous because of that scene in the film. I am like ridiculously attentive to detail. All right, so I made this left, and I made this right.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, backtrack.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. My mind doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I just get lost all the time. Forget where I'm at.
Understandable. Chris, thank you so much for coming into the Metal Forge this week. It has been awesome. And
it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. And keep up the awesome work with Mercenary Press and Inhuman Nature, because it's all kicking ass, and it seems like it's firing on all cylinders at this moment.
Yeah. It's keeping me very, very busy, which is it's tiring, but it's a good problem to have, so it's all good. Yeah, I'm going to keep at it.
Very much so. And on the way out today from the Inhuman Nature album, what do you want to play out?
From the album, let's go. We'll roll with Taste of Steel. That's the classic.
Hell yeah, you heard him. This is Taste of Steel. Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter of the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.